Relevant ministries, public and private institutions, as well as industry experts will work together to enhance competitiveness in the nuclear power industry. A big increase in household earnings, a stark contrast in spending. That's according to government analysis of relevant trends in Q2. To source blood for dogs needing transfusions in a more ethical way, Hyundai Motor and Konkuk University set up the Canine Blood Donation Center, the first of its kind in Asia. Hello and welcome to our newscast. I'm Daniel Che. Let's begin with our top story. South Korea launched a committee to help bolster exports of nuclear power plants, part of President Yoon's plan to scrap the former administration's phase-out policy and revive the industry. Min Suk-hyun starts us off.
Upon taking office, President Yoon vowed to roll back the former administration's policy of phasing out nuclear power. In fact, during Wednesday's press conference to mark 100 days in office, Yoon stressed the need to push forward with nuclear energy exports.
제가 탈원전 폐기를 선언하고 나토 정상회의에서 적극적인 세일즈 외교를 펼쳤습니다마는 그 결과 해외에서 최근 우리 원전 발주 움직임이 본격화되기 시작했습니다. 앞으로도 우리 원전과 기업의 해외 진출과 세일즈를 위해 발로 직접 뛰겠습니다.
In line with this, the South Korean government on Thursday launched a special committee aimed at expanding nuclear energy exports. Involving relevant ministries, public and private institutions, as well as industry experts, it seeks to enhance competitiveness in the nuclear power industry and provide opportunities on nuclear power projects. The first meeting was presided over by the Minister of Trade, Industry and Energy, Lee Chang-yang.
To win bids for nuclear power projects, it's necessary to analyze the conditions of each country and understand areas of cooperation, as well as to have a distinguished strategy to boost exports.
South Korea seeks to export 10 nuclear reactors by 2030. And so it's now working to win bids for major nuclear power projects, such as Poland's plan to build 6 nuclear reactors by 2043 and the Czech Republic's project to build another reactor in its southern region of Dukovany. South Korea plans to set up offices in 8 countries, including Poland, the Czech Republic, and Saudi Arabia, to help with its nuclear energy exports. At Thursday's meeting, Minister Lee Chang-yang also said the government plans to provide companies with more than $750 million worth of work within this year in a bid to revive the country's nuclear power industry. Min Suk-hyun, Arirang News.
South Korea expressed concerns to the U.S. over the Inflation Reduction Act, where EVs assembled outside of North America will no longer qualify for the conventional tax credit. A foreign ministry official said the revision may violate the FTA as well as rules set by the WTO. Seoul will continue to cooperate with relevant authorities to prevent discrimination against Korean firms. The Inflation Reduction Act recently passed into law aims to dampen inflation, combat climate change, and lower the price of prescription drugs. Here in the nation, the average income of households rose significantly in Q2. Spending also increased, but not by much. Consumers were apparently saving more because of economic uncertainties. Arirang helps us look beyond the digits.
People in South Korea appear to have earned more money in the second quarter of 2022, but less of that increase was spent. That's according to a survey of around 7,200 households released on Wednesday by Statistics Korea. The report shows that South Korea's average household income stood at 4,831,000 Korean won a month, an increase of more than 12% on year, the biggest jump since related data was first compiled in 2006. At the current rate, that's a monthly income of around $3,600. Statistics Korea says this is largely due to a rise in the rate of employment and an increase in the service production index. Income across all brackets grew in the second quarter compared to the previous year on the back of the government's COVID-19 relief funds. Income for those in the lowest 20% rose by over 16% on year, the most among all income brackets.
There was an increase in the number of small business owners with high income this second quarter. thanks to the government's COVID-19 loss recovery funds given to small businesses.
Meanwhile, average monthly household spending came to 2,619,000 won, up 5.8% on year thanks to the lifting of social distancing measures. That's about $2,000 a month. Although this is an on-year rise, the average propensity to consume, which indicates the percentage of income that is spent rather than saved, dropped 5.2 percentage points on year to 66.4. This is the lowest for any second quarter. Statistics Korea also said the rise in average monthly household spending reflects higher consumer prices, not necessarily a willingness to spend more money. One expert said low household spending is expected to last for a bit longer.
It seems quite obvious that the average household spending was low compared to the high income levels. This is due to high consumer prices, ongoing economic uncertainties, and high interest rate hikes, and so low spending is forecast to remain.
He added, although global prices of oil and grain are expected to ease in recent months, household spending is expected to be low for at least a year. Lee Hyun, Arirang News.
President Yoon's initiative to bring North Korea back to talks is gradually taking shape. Two cabinet members explained to lawmakers how the plan can be implemented. Han Sung-woo reports.
Unification Minister Kwon Young-se told lawmakers Thursday that moving forward, South Korea is going to be more specific in its messages to North Korea about its so-called audacious initiative and work to create conditions for the regime to embrace the plan. The Yoon Suk-yeol administration seeks to dramatically improve the North's economy and infrastructure if Pyongyang takes real steps toward denuclearization. This would include a large-scale food program, assistance with its power grid, the modernization of its ports, airports, and medical system, as well as agricultural and financial support. Speaking at a parliamentary session, Minister Kwon explained that the plan will also include political and military measures corresponding to the level of progress made towards denuclearization. He added that the government will push for the establishment of an inter-Korean Joint Economic Development Committee to coordinate with North Korea on how the various projects will be carried out. Details have yet to be revealed, but the minister said South Korea will iron them out in close cooperation with the United States and other ministries, while striving to garner support from related countries, such as China. Also addressing lawmakers in the same session was Foreign Minister Park Jin, who said South Korea will work closely with the U.S. and the international community to try and bring North Korea back to the negotiating table and implement Yoon's audacious initiative. To do so, he emphasized the three pillars of deterrence, dissuasion, and diplomacy. But should the regime conduct another major provocation, such as a seventh nuclear test, he reaffirmed that South Korea will seek not just new UN Security Council sanctions, but also its own sanctions against Pyongyang. The two ministers both said the North appears to have finished preparations for what would be its first nuke test since 2017. Kwon said Pyongyang appears to be taking several political factors into consideration on deciding when to press the button. Han Sung-woo, Arirang News.
On this date in 1976, two American soldiers guarding the inter-Korean border were axed to death while trimming a tree inside the DMZ. To honor them, a memorial ceremony was held at the Joint Security Area. Bae-eun-ji has the full story.
On August 18, 1976, two American soldiers from the United Nations Command, Captain Arthur Boniface and First Lieutenant Mark Barrett, were dispatched to the DMZ to trim a poplar tree that was blocking the view from a watchtower near the Bridge of No Return. Soon after they started, North Korean soldiers ordered them to stop, and when the Americans refused, they were attacked with axes. They were killed, and the attack also left 4 other U.S. soldiers and 4 South Korean service members injured. What was originally a simple task almost sparked a second war on the Korean Peninsula. The U.S. launched a massive military operation a few days after the attack that involved hundreds of troops, B-52 bombers, fighter jets, and an aircraft carrier. To honor the fallen heroes, the annual memorial service was held on Thursday at the Joint Security Area, or Panmunjom, within the demilitarized zone that separates the two Koreas. Retired Major Kim Moon-hwan, the former Korean augmentation to the U.S. Army, who was present at the time of the attack and was a good friend of Boniface, said he remembers the incident like it was just yesterday.
I saw Captain Boniface lay down on the ground and took him in a jeep for evacuation, but severe injury made him to pass away in my arms in DMZ. Lieutenant Barrett was found in swamp later on, but could not be saved because of injury.
Kim was injured too by the brutal attack.
I was beaten in the face, and when I looked up, I saw an X handle coming down to me, and I blocked that with my left arm.
The U.S. commander of the 2nd Infantry Division, David Lesperance, who was also at the event, said North Korea still continues to develop capabilities that threaten not only South Korea, but regional allies and partners of the U.S.
Like them, we must strengthen our ironclad commitment to security on the Korean Peninsula, which has endured for 72 years, and never take it for granted.
During the ceremony, South Korean and U.S. service members laid flowers at the site where the poplar tree once stood and paid their respects to the victims. 배은지, Arirang News, Panmunjom.
The nation's daily COVID-19 tally stood at close to 180,000, a slight decline from the highest figure in 4 months recorded on Wednesday. But imported cases reached an all-time high of 633, 61 more COVID-19 deaths, 470 severe patients. South Korea has been seeing the BA.5 subvariant spread quickly during the summer vacation season. In response to possible rise in reinfections, authorities advise people, including those who have already been infected, to get their third vaccine shots. President Yoon Suk-yeol visited Chunghyun Welfare Foundation. Among other services, it offers training in various skills like drawing, webtoons, and painting. The South Korean leader promised to expand that particular section on weekdays and boost government support for people with developmental disorders. He vowed to make budget cuts in the public sector to ensure greater support for the disadvantaged. He also emphasized the importance of the government being aware which areas of society are most affected when drawing up policies. President Yoon appointed a new prosecutor general and named his nominee to lead the Fair Trade Commission. The new chief prosecutor is Lee Won-suk, who has been serving as acting prosecutor general and as a prosecutor at the Supreme Prosecutor's Office. He is expected to lead with a balanced approach. The nominee to head the country's antitrust regulator is Han Ki-jung, a law professor at Seoul National University. The top office views Han as someone that respects the principles of the free market and economics, who is an expert in administration. Most of the blood used for transfusions in dogs come from animals raised specifically for that purpose. But to source blood in a more ethical way, Hyundai Motor and gov't University set up a canine blood donation center. Kim Bo-kyung turns the spotlight to the first such facility in Asia.
Blood donor dogs. They're dogs that are raised specifically to donate blood and are kept in small, dirty cages. Unethical, but banning donor dog breeding was difficult as almost 90% of blood packs needed for sick dogs came from them. Some pet owners and organizations have long been working together to establish a voluntary blood donation system. But a central control tower to oversee everything was still needed. Until now, with help from Hyundai Motor, gov't University's Canine Blood Donation Center held its opening ceremony on Thursday.
Going beyond the pride that we're the first in Asia, establishing a blood donation center is significant because we've taken a firm step in supporting the important value of spreading awareness of pet blood donation, not breeding donor dogs solely for that purpose.
Inside the center, there's an area for owners to bring their dogs for a checkup, and labs where vets can separate plasma from red blood cells for dogs that need it. The rooftop even provides a place for dogs to play and get rid of any stress before and after the donation process. The center also has the country's very first pet ambulance.
Pet owners usually have to take their pets to the vets by themselves even when they have serious conditions. And that means the pets cannot get any first aid on the way. Now this ambulance can treat pets during the golden time and safely bring them to hospital.
There's also an intensive care unit inside along with oxygen tanks in case there are dogs that need urgent attention. Konkuk University is at the forefront of such efforts for now, but South Korean lawmakers want more animal hospitals to follow suit and have promised to support such efforts.
Based on the blood centre's goals to set an ethical pet blood donation system while securing high-quality blood and build a nationwide blood supply chain, we expect the centre to play a big role not just in South Korea, but in Asia as well.
We hope to see centers like these at other hospitals too, and to do that, we lawmakers and the government will jointly think about how we can provide support so that the center could be an example for the rest of the world to follow. The aim is for all dogs that need blood transfusions to get them with blood that was donated voluntarily, and this center is one step closer toward that vision. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
Metaverse has a role to play in medical education. Korea is a leader in using VR to help doctors learn about the latest surgical procedures, even while on the other side of the globe. Shin Yoon zooms in on this next-level technology.
This may look like an ordinary medical conference, but take a closer look. It's a metaverse conference where health professionals from around the world come together as avatars to see how South Korea conducts surgeries. Thanks to virtual reality technology, they can watch the surgeries up close and from all angles. All they need is a VR headset or an electronic device. This is where the surgeries are filmed, at the smart operating room in Seoul National University Bundang Hospital. You can see there's a lot of equipment for them to film and live stream their surgeries. And let me show you just how smart their operating room is. If you follow me, there's a 360-degree camera that captures the surgery in all angles. This way, you can see what each surgeon is doing inside this room. And if you're a viewer, you can use a monitor over here. All you need is an electronic device and use a mouse cursor to see all angles inside this room. There's also voice recognition devices. Hey Alexa, turn on the surgical lights. You can see just how smart this room is for educational purposes. As Korea's medical techniques have advanced, surgeons around the world have visited Korea to learn how surgeons here have gotten to excel in areas like minimally invasive laparoscopic surgeries. But with the pandemic, flying to different countries to learn medical know-how has become difficult. That's why in 2019, Seoul National University Bundang Hospital introduced the Smart Operating Room. This has taken Korea's medical education to a whole new level.
Before, doctors would have to fly to Korea and squeeze themselves into a small room and stand on a stool to see how we operate. Now, all they need is an electronic device. Thanks to VR tech and 360-degree cameras, doctors can see every angle of the operating room and how the procedure is done up close.
After attending a metaverse surgery, the National University Hospital in Singapore decided to implement the smart operating room in its own hospital.
One video speaks more than 1 million words. So in the same sense, one piece of digital technology with video, 3D immersion, 3D and 360-degree immersion into a virtual environment can enhance the experience of the surgeon.
There's no doubt that digital technology can boost the quality of medical education, but it isn't an option for everyone.
There are other things that need priority. Yeah, we're still in an emerging country, and sometimes we're still struggling with insurance companies to get basic things like chest tubes, valves.
South Korean health institutions are aware of those challenges and are launching outreach programs to help other countries expand their ICT-based medical systems. Shin Yoon, Arirang News.
Many more of our social interactions could take place in the virtual world, commerce included. Metaverse tech from South Korean companies are on display in Busan. Choi Min-jung takes us to the expo held in the port city.
Be it traveling, socializing, or studying, You can theoretically do it all on the metaverse. People can take a glimpse of the latest developments right here at the K-Metaverse Expo Busan 2022. This is an AI-based extended reality or XR telescope developed by Pia. The touchscreen telescope called Bora provides a tourism experience using a virtual environment. It allows people to view the scenery in front of them much more easily. People do not have to turn the telescope around physically. Instead, all they have to do is click the left and right buttons to see the entire landscape. The telescope also provides information on local tourist attractions.
There are similar types of telescope developed in Canada, but the functions are not as complex as Bora. We aim to go global and replace existing telescopes around the world with Bora.
People can also tap into the metaverse using this platform developed by Mever. Businesses can sell their products and consumers can buy items just like they would in real life. Users can buy snacks from convenience stores and get them delivered, or purchase furniture that catches their eye at a model house. They can also go to nightclubs and socialize with others without physically being there.
We have been experiencing a lot of restraints in our lives due to COVID-19. But now people will be able to experience their ordinary lives without physical constraints.
Visitors to the K-Metaverse Expo Busan 2022 can get hands-on experience of the metaverse by taking part in virtual games and activities. The expo is currently being held in the port city of Busan until Saturday. More than 100 companies are there and is expected to attract some 10,000 visitors. The expo's host Ecomice says the event serves as a platform to support the technology and global competitiveness of local metaverse companies. It added that it will continue to support the development of the K-Metaverse as a measure to support Busan's bid to host the World Expo 2030. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News, Busan.
A spherical sundial made during the Joseon Dynasty has returned home to be displayed at the National Palace Museum. The Cultural Heritage Foundation and Overseas Cultural Heritage Foundation purchased the Ilyeong Won-gu at a U.S. auction in March. It's suspected to have been taken to that country by a service member in the 1940s. This rare sundial is even new to academics and has scientific and historical significance. It resembles a small globe, unlike the famous Joseon sundial Angbu-il-gu, and can measure time anywhere. What's also notable is that it's shown when it was made and who made it. Wednesday marked 100th day since South Korea's former presidential office opened to the public. Cultural Heritage Administration data shows almost 1.6 million people have visited the complex so far, meaning an average of more than 17,000 visitors per day. Cheongwon has also become popular among international tourists. Almost 30% of those who made it on-site reservations were foreigners. Tickets are currently free and can be booked online. They're available on-site for seniors, disabled visitors, and foreigners. Eyes Hold You will be replaced by something catchier and more appealing to international tourists and investors. The slogan received negative feedback since it was revealed 7 years ago. The Seoul City government survey in June showed more than 70% of foreign visitors felt it should be changed. A panel of branding experts will come up with 3 to 5 options by October. The capital will put them to a public vote. Based on the results, the panel will make the final call. The new slogan will be unveiled in December to be used from 2023.
Showers are in the forecast for the entire nation starting tomorrow daytime. With the cold rain, the heat will take a brief respite across the Seoul metropolitan area. The capital region will see maximum temperatures of 28 degrees Celsius. But this is only temporary, as intense heat will make a return this weekend. Showers will start from central regions tomorrow. As for the amount of rain, eastern Gyeonggi-do and parts of Gangwon-do and Chungcheong-do provinces will see 20 to 70 millimeters. The rest of inland regions can expect up to 50. The previous downpours have increased water levels in lakes and rivers, so please continue to watch out for localized flooding across low-lying regions. Jeju Island will see tropical nights tomorrow. Other inland regions will start off breezier, with Seoul starting off at 23 degrees. Daily highs in Seoul will be reaching 28, Chuncheon 27, Daegu and Gyeongju will be hot again at 32 degrees. Most of the rain will ease off by Saturday morning. For early next week, another round of nationwide rain is in the forecast. That's all for now, and here are the weather conditions around the world.
That's all from us. As always, thank you for watching.
The stage of global urban diplomacy will be Daejeon. UCL